What's up, everybody? Today's video is 10-minute guide to Football Manager. My name is Greg, an American living abroad in Spain, learning the beautiful game of football one reaction at a time with your help. Today's video is going to be interesting, but this is brought to you by Zealand. Everybody knows Zealand. I mean, he's famous. So I'm going to tackle Football Manager. So before I started this channel, I was looking at a different way of learning the game of football, and I was going to do like a fantasy football. But then I started, and I don't know, it wasn't Football Manager, it was something else. And I didn't really know what I was getting into, you know, and then I just ended up not doing it. So through this channel, I've had a few people make the suggestion that I try Football Manager. I know it can be complicated. I've seen that, but I have no problem learning, and I like charts and Excel and all that nerdy stuff. So that's something that I'm going to tackle. I figure I've heard this was a great introduction to it. So, and I don't know how it's going to appear on the channel. If you have any suggestions, if I should do a live stream, if I should, you know, record like 30-minute segments of me playing, I have no idea. So you can just put something out there and we'll see what comes about in the comments. I think it's going to be interesting. So let's see what we got. Let's go.
Have you ever seen this game and really wanted to play it? Or maybe you've tried it before, but you opened it and it was just way too overwhelming.
What are all these numbers?
That was my experience. Totally okay. I got the game and didn't actually play it until 3 years later because I just open it and immediately get overwhelmed. The point of this video is to take those 3 years and condense it into 10 minutes that can take you from having never played before to being able to play and enjoy Football Manager. Although enjoy is a strong word, it can give you an immense amount of pain and suffering. And no!
Uh-oh.
But if you don't know exactly what Football Manager is, it's what you always wanted FIFA Career Mode to be, or should I say, EAFC. You don't actually play the games, but you control everything around the club that a real-life manager would control. It's all
Okay, and I can get down with that. I think that is gonna fit what I'm trying to do here, because I mean, I'm not a gamer per se, where I have, you know, I mean, my son is. He can probably play this game, but anyway. I'm not a gamer, so I like this. I just have to be a manager, put the right people in place, and come up with strategy and all that. So I think it's gonna be fun. I don't know. We'll see.
Play the games, but you control everything around the club that a real-life manager would control. It's awesome. But now, we have to prepare the timer. I have to do this in 10 minutes. I'm ready. The first thing you notice about Football Manager is that it employs an incredibly large number of scouts to create and update reports about over 400,000 players and leagues around the world. So if you look at FIFA's database, it's down here on a bar graph. Football Manager's database is absolutely massive. Even leagues that aren't playable in the game can be stocked full of players. So if you load in a completely full database, which you shouldn't do because unless you have a supercomputer, it will run really slow, you'll have players from Bhutan to Curacao. When you open the game, you go to New Game and then start a new career. You can choose from any of the clubs in any of these leagues, and you also have the option of being just an international coach or starting unemployed. You then go to Advanced Setup, and on this screen, which can be incredibly overwhelming, you can add and remove leagues that are playable. Keep in mind, all of these leagues will be in the game regardless if they're playable. They just have a little bit more detail to them. And of course, the more playable leagues you have, the slower your game will run. You get a little star estimation over here on the right. Database size will determine how many players outside of those playable leagues are around. There will still be players outside of the playable leagues regardless of what database size you choose. When you're ready, I'm the head coach of Man City. You just start the game. I'm just waiting for this thing to load. Very important for me to look at my TikTok, which is essentially all videos of capybaras.
Wow.
It's awesome. Eventually, you'll make it to this screen where you're determining your coach's background, and I highly recommend if you're managing a club to select suggested badges. That's just going to balance the game for you when you enter. If not, it could be a lot harder. You can.
I already know I'm going to end up watching like 50 of these videos, at least probably before I even set anything up, just so I can figure out just what the hell's going on.
That's just going to balance the game for you when you enter. If not, it could be a lot harder. You can make it artificially harder on yourself. If you start unemployed, then the badge and the playing time level that you select will determine the types of clubs that will be offering you at the beginning of your unemployed run. And if you start unemployed, you really can work your way all the way up to the top because Football Manager can run forever. The world record for the longest played save is over 500 years, and I made this video where I simulated Football Manager 1,000 years into the future. New gens, who are new players, come into the game in a really authentic way.
Oh, so that's cool. So, okay, good. So a season is not an actual season. Season is probably like a couple months or something. I don't know.
1,000 years into the future. New gens, who are new players, come into the game in a really authentic way that keep clubs and national teams going, and the economy largely stays the same. In my Twitch save in 2036, none of the players on my team are actually real, but Heiko Reinhardt is still valued at over $200 million because he's nasty. Now, once your game loads up, you are inundated with a ton of information in the inbox, and don't worry, it will all make sense to you in the next however much time is left. That's because there are only a few things that you need to worry about to start having fun in this game. But right now I'm going to pause the timer, and I promise I'm not cheating. I'm just going to show you a compilation of me molding playing Football Manager to convince you picked a great game while I tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Manscaped is committed to helping men around the world walk and talk with some swagger this summer. It's used by over 8 million men worldwide. And if you use the code in the description, you get 20% off and free shipping. But what could you get? For the sleekest version of yourself, from head to toe, you can start out with something like the Beard Hedge Trimmer. It's doing wonderful work keeping these lines straight.
Only my beard wasn't so patchy.
That's a separate, non-Manscaped related issue. See, this can set any length that you want. It's got 20 different lengths that you can just scroll through, and this thing moves up and down. Science. And of course, there's also the Lawnmower 4.0, which is equipped with skin-safe technology to prevent nicks and cuts around the areas you don't want nicks and cuts. Like your microphone. Perfect. It also has this fancy flashlight. I use it to find my phone in the dark when I don't feel like turning the light on. The performance package comes with all sorts of self-care products. It even comes with an incredibly comfortable pair of underwear, which I'm wearing right now, but according to YouTube, I can't show you, and that's a crime. But thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this channel, and if you want to get in on the action and become as naturally hairless as I am, it's more hair management, you know? You get 20% off and free shipping with the link in the description. My 93-year-old grandmother runs faster than that! But now it is time to fire
this guy's hilarious.
that timer up again because I have, well, I don't know exactly how much time I have left, but it can't be a ton. The first section to go to is staff. If you go over to responsibilities and click on any of these sections from scouting to media to training, your staff can take control of any of the things that you don't want to do. Anything I mentioned for the rest of this video, including selecting your team to play the matches themselves, can be managed by your staff until you feel like learning it. I realize even here this can be a lot of information that's overwhelming, and in certain sections there are multiple areas that you're going to need to adjust. But there are helpful set all buttons that you can just set to recommended staff member so that the staff can properly recommend the staff member to take over for you. They will take care of everything. If you're wondering why my game looks different in minor ways, that's because we designed a reskin for the game that makes it a little bit more user-friendly. It's completely free. You can find it to download in the description. Next up is your team.
Oh, cool. I think I have heard that some of those types of things would be good.
More user-friendly. It's completely free. You can find it to download in the description. Next up is your team, the squad. You click on this and you're confronted by a bunch of players, a bunch of fancy numbers, and this is the first place that I gave up in my 3-year learning curve. Because this is a ridiculous amount of information to process. The first thing you should do on a new team is click this and go to contract and then sort by the section called agreed playing time. Make sure that you get your star players, important players up top, and you will see who the important players on your team are so that you know you're not looking at the guys that are warming the bench first. When you click on a player, the numbers for each attribute are on a scale of 1 to 20. 20 being good, 1 being me at everything. And there are 2 important things you need to know on this screen. The first is going to make your life easier in processing this information, and that's that if you have this whole positional map, with this being like left wing, right wing, striker, left-sided midfield, right-sided midfield, so on and so forth, you can click on the position and then the player role inside that position, which, you know, winger, inside forward, pretty self-explanatory stuff. And then you can click on that, select the mentality, either support or attack, and it will highlight the attributes that are important for that exact job. Green being the most important and blue being kind of important. The second thing on this screen is the star rating. Now this is the closest to an overall rating you are going to get in Football Manager. It is relative to your team. 2.5 stars is an average player on your team. 2.5 gold stars. Silver stars are below gold, and we don't like those people. But this rating is generated by a member of your staff. In staff responsibilities, in advice and reports, provides player reports is the staff member that is assigning this information. If you go up to development and click the drop-down, you will see the judging player ability and potential of every member of your staff. You will want to select the best person at those.
I see how this can be overwhelming, but I also see how it can be super cool. So I know it's going to be a struggle at first, but hopefully it doesn't take me more than 2 or 3 weeks to at least be able to get around on it.
In potential of every member of your staff, you will want to select the best person at those things for provides player reports so that your star rating is as accurate as possible. Staff attributes are also on a scale of 1 to 20, so 20 is the best and 1 is useless. The star rating will also provide a potential ability rating. This is the level of star rating relative to your team that staff member believes this player can reach. And if they're under the age of 26, they still have some room to develop. Once they turn 26, there's no serious player development that occurs in Football Manager. Remember, these stars are relative. That includes the potentials.
There's player development? Wow.
Is player development.
This game is no joke.
That occurs in Football Manager. Remember, these stars are relative. That includes the potential. So somebody with 5-star potential on your team would have 3-star potential on Manchester United, maybe. The last thing to just understand on this screen is that players do have hidden attributes that determine their personality, which you see on the right in the skin that we have. You'll notice this as you play the game. Different players react and respond to different situations in different ways. Some get nervous, some get even. That's all the player personality. Wow. It's not something you can see here. Next is the tactics screen. Here you're shown a bunch of different tactical styles that you can select presets from. The ones that your staff think will be particularly effective based on the qualities of your team have a little thumbs up next to them. So let's say we want to control possession, and then it gives you information about that, different instructions that go along with that. Then choose formation, 3 recommended formations. We'll go 4-3-3, and then we click confirm. That's it. If you don't want to deal with selecting players right away, you go to quick pick in the top right, and it will automatically select a team for you. The only thing you'd really need to worry about at the beginning is the mentality of your team, attacking down to defensive and so on, depending on how good the team is you're playing against. That's all you need to get started with tactics. Just tinker with it and make adjustments as you see fit that you think will work, and you'll learn more about tactics over time. You can already start to use your brain here. If you
Oh, wow. Oh, man, this is going to be cool. Oh, okay.
Looked at your squad and noticed you have a great inside forward, well, then you can go up here and change this role to inside forward, and you want to make sure you have a tactic that has that position and that role in the first place. Where the player is being the position, and what they do in that position being the role. Then there's dynamics. Here you can see your club atmosphere, players that are having issues, or players that could potentially have issues in the happiness tab. See, Bulow and Fonseca are worried about their playing time, but it's not a huge issue yet. Interacting with players is a huge part of the game. Make sure they're happy with their playing time, which we looked at earlier in that contract section, and make sure they're happy to be there. Players will come talk to you, and you will need to interact with them in those situations. There's usually only a few options that work, but this is a feel thing. Answer what you think the right answer would be, or check out guides that are all over the internet on how to deal with unruly players in Football Manager. It is something like tactics that you learn more over time, but knowing it's there and keeping players happy is a good way to survive your early years in Football Manager. Next is scouting. This is something that has been simplified this year to where you just set recruitment focuses for your scouting staff, but at the beginning, this is something I would recommend leaving to your staff until you feel like really tackling it. But you can just set some basic recommendations looking for wonder kids or maybe a goalkeeper with a high star rating relative to your team. Then the scouts will do the rest. Training. People obsess about training in Football Manager, but you really don't have to touch team training. It will be fine without you. There is also individual training for each player, and I'd recommend just setting their position, training to the position that you want them to play in, and just leaving it. You can learn more about this later, but you don't have to have it in order to play the game. Then there's the board. They provide you with a club vision, your expectations for what you're supposed to achieve. They even have a culture, so at Barcelona, possession will obviously be part of the culture, and if you're not possessing enough, that will become a problem. And on the finances tab, you can make board requests for everything from improved training facilities to improved youth recruitment to more finances available for your signing of physios. The finances screen is completely interactive. You have a transfer budget and a payroll payroll, which is determined by the board based off the financial situation of the club. If they trust you, you'll be able to move it back and forth, put more money in the payroll or the transfer budget. Because the finances are completely reactive, you don't have to like spend your transfer budget or not have it next year. It will just roll over unless you get relegated or something. Something important to know about the board.
You can get relegated too? Oh God. I'm probably gonna get relegated.
Have it next year, it will just roll over unless you get relegated or something. Something important to know about the board is that if you're negotiating a contract with the player, the max value you can offer in base salary is limited by the board. That is the max amount that they are comfortable with financially offering. This will also happen when you're negotiating for staff contracts, which is where we're headed next, because you're going to lean on your staff for a lot of these responsibilities, which means you need a full staff. On the basic staff screen, you'll see a number on the right. That is the number that the board will allow you to sign in a particular position. So in the Premier League, 17 coaches is pretty on the nose. You want to go sign 17 coaches. You want to fill out your staff in all of these spots if you are going to be using your staff.
Oh, wow. General manager, technical director, chief scout, recruitment analyst, and a loan manager.
Staff responsibilities because you want as many people as possible to be able to handle stuff for you. But there is a simple, comfortable way to do this. You go to staff search, you go to new search, you pick whatever role you want. So let's say you need an assistant coach. You go to pick attributes and you can highlight the key attributes for that role. And then you just select the number and kind of take the number down right here until a couple people come available. Then you go to contract, sort by the smallest contract so you can probably afford the guy, and just sign this guy. Hello, Steen. That offer looks good. And that will, of course, work for every position you're...
That is so cool because it could be like, if they're not doing their job or bringing me horrible recruits or something, I could probably fire them and find somebody else for the right amount of money or something like that.
Hiring for. It's really the first thing you do in every save, and you kind of handle it once in off season to make sure that your staff is full and able to do as many things for you as possible. If you're ever curious how expensive contracts should be, look at other contracts for people in positions like that in your league. And that's it. Am I good? Did we get it? Of course we did. Come on. Football Manager is only incredibly complicated. But with all of that information, you're ready to go. You can hit continue and get on to your first match. If you're trying to figure out who to start with, that can be a big roadblock for people. Maybe your favorite team's not the best because they could be in a really competitive situation that will put you under a lot more pressure right away. I recommend big clubs in bad leagues. Celtic is a good example. Rangers is also a good example. Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia. Young Boys, the team in Switzerland. These teams, you have a bit more leeway to kind of experiment with things and figure things out without having to worry about getting blown out by the teams you're playing against. If you want to learn more about Football Manager right now, I've made a ton of tutorials all over this channel. I'll link one at the end of this video that I think will be particularly helpful. And if you just have questions, we have the largest Football Manager based Discord in the world. The link's in the description.
Oh, cool.
I also stream on Twitch at least 4 days a week. I'm normally playing Football Manager. You can drop in there too. And remember, this is a sandbox game. Think of what sounds fun to you in Football Manager and then just do it. Have fun and subscribe to this channel. Here's that tutorial again. I don't know what I'm going to put there yet, but whatever it is, it's incredibly helpful, in my opinion, which is at least mildly valuable sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Have you ever seen...
Oh, that is cool. I didn't know he had a Discord. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Well, here you go. I mean, I don't know. I know not everybody watching the channel right now is into this game, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, I think I'm going to, like, any videos that I post about it, I'm going to post outside of my normal posting time that I've had because I don't want to take away from that content. So I'm just adding something extra so I can learn. I think it's going to be a great way for me to learn the players, the positions, what they do, you know, the staff, and just everything, how the football world works. So if there's anybody out there who's really into this, you know, and you want to kind of come along, it's going to be just like my channel where I'm just kind of learning what I'm doing because, you know, I don't really know. So feel free to hop in the comments, and more than likely you can give me some advice. I'm probably going to, you know, take that into consideration because you obviously know more than I do if you know anything about it. This is my first introduction to this game. So stay tuned. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to all play out, but I figured I'm just going to make this video and make the announcement that I'm going to be playing this game. and then we'll just add it into everything else, man. This is really going to be a for real football channel pretty quick here. So, all right, subscribe to the channel, like the video. As always, thank you for stopping by, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.